Let's talk about Liverpool versus Manchester United. I'm gonna make a statement. I want to hear your reaction. Okay, based on this game alone, the biggest game that Liverpool have played in a minute versus their biggest rival, who were in 15th place.
Yeah,
and they managed to let them equalize in the dying minutes. I'm gonna say this. I want to hear your reaction. I think based on this game, Liverpool should sell Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid in this transfer window.
Wow. So I'm gonna respond with a no.
Okay. End of show. Thank you for coming.
But I'll give my reasoning. So you're essentially saying that having Trent Alexander-Arnold on your team puts you at risk of essentially throwing away their title hopes.
Not exactly, but
okay.
I will say Trent Alexander-Arnold made Diogo Dalot look like Dortmund Aubameyang. Bro, this guy is a right back, and he was attacking on the left-hand side, the opposite side of where he normally plays, and he was attacking with the freedom of one of the best left wingers. Well, who's this, Neymar at Barca? There's no reason why you made this guy look that good. And by the way, Diogo Dalot has spent the last so many weeks under Ruben Amorim making safe passes, turning inside, passing square passes back, making all the safe passes. Every time he got the ball, his first thing was to run. Clearly, this was a tactic by Manchester United to attack down the left-hand side, and they were wildly efficient down the left-hand side to the point where it's very clear that Trent Alexander-Arnold has an incredible skill set. This man, when he can sneak into the midfield and become that overload, not many players in the world are as good as him in that. But when you ask him to defend, the position sometimes calls for that, being a right back. If you ask him to defend, he becomes a liability. How have you sat next to Virgil van Dijk for this long and not learned anything about defending? This man, and I'm not saying that they're better off without him. I think to some degree, it might be tough for me as a player on this pitch, or maybe even someone in the coaching staff, to really trust Trent Alexander-Arnold in a big game if he's being, sort of picked on. If the point of the attack is to go after him, you've now got to shuffle everything. It almost feels like someone should be behind him helping. And I'm like, you can't. He's the defender.
Right.
He's the last guy. So I think if you're going to get any value out of him, remember, he leaves on a free. You got him on a free, but still, if you can get any value out of him, and you've got, Connor Bradley, who can come in and do a job. He's not offensively anywhere near.
And that's where my argument will go, is that, the last few weeks, we haven't been hearing these murmurs about Trent Alexander-Arnold and his defending, because he's been spectacular offensively. But that, if Liverpool win this game, we're not talking about Trent's defending.
They didn't. They let a 15th place team equalize.
Yes, but it's still Manchester United. And even though
I agree with you, but you can't take the context out of where Manchester United are right now in a relatively historically bad run.
Right, but they have a new manager. They're not a absolute garbage team.
Right, this is an Everton, is what you're saying.
There's plenty of other examples of teams beneath. You could say Southampton.
And Ipswich, although they're playing pretty well right now.
Ipswich looks great.
Yeah.
Manchester United would love to be Ipswich right now. Wolves have
they've been
inconsistent.
Yeah.
But Manchester United are not they don't have just garbage talent that stumble their way into the Premier League.
Would you agree that they've looked better in this match than they have in the last few weeks under Ruben Amorim?
They looked good when they won against Manchester City a couple weeks ago. Whatever.
Yeah, but don't you think they looked really good? Better than most games, other than obviously the Manchester City one, who was also in a really historically bad run.
I didn't necessarily. I wouldn't say they necessarily looked good in this game. I thought it was a pretty sloppy game for both teams.
Yeah, I don't think either one can hang their head
I don't think this was a representation of where both of these clubs are currently, because I thought Manchester United punched way above their weight and Liverpool punched beneath. You know what I mean?
That my point is Liverpool allowed Manchester United to look a lot better.
Yeah, but yes, but the rain was the rain was so oppressive and ridiculous.
What are we talking about? Rain in England? They've never heard of it before? This isn't Saudi Arabia where it's the first time it's rain. It's rain. This is England. You're prepared for this.
Yeah, I know. It's just I thought the game was overall sloppy.
The pitch was slick. It was like freezing rain. It was one of those
I rarely have this especially watching Premier League matches, where I'm like, why are they doing this? Don't do this? Wait a little bit. Wait till
you really thought that? I was thinking like, why y'all crying about a couple inches of snow? It's like, dog, it's like the first time it snowed, dog.
The snow is the one that they get very rattled by.
It's like if it rains in Arizona, everybody like crashes immediately. I was like, what are you talking? There's not even that much snow.
Yeah. But no, look, okay. So let's go through some of the moments of the game because the first half was fairly.
But let's just finish talking about Trent real quick. Do you think if they were to sell Trent, it would upend their title chase?
I wouldn't say upend. It definitely puts it at risk, especially with a result like this. And you know, Arsenal dropping points against Brighton. This was a great opportunity against a quote unquote very weak team to increase that lead. But without Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think it'll be even tougher because look at the pass that he made against West Ham around Edson Alvarez was a thing of just complete beauty. It was art.
Yeah, that's why Real Madrid is the team coming after him and not, Nottingham Forest.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Real Madrid doesn't want scrubs. They want great players. And defensively, even though they're not that great this year, they can withstand having one or two really offensive players. Not just the way they play, but the surrounding players around those players. I mean, they're really high quality on every position. Yeah. And also, you're in La Liga where it doesn't have the median level of quality that the Premier League has. Week in and week out, you're playing a much tougher team in the Premier League than you are in La Liga. So you can withstand having a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold defensively, who can be a defensive liability. I understand that it maybe makes it a bit more difficult, this title chase. You have a bit of a buffer. You're up, I believe, 6 points with a game in hand. So you have some space there. You're getting into those latter matches. For me, it's why potentially continue this, have these opportunities where he can really have moments of just absolute blunders for 90 minutes like he had in this. He didn't win one duel, dude. The entire game.
Yeah.
Not one duel. Granted, this may just be like a really bad game for him and it might not be an anomaly. But if you can get any value and get him off your books and sort of wipe away the one liability you have, I would venture to guess if you see their back four go up a little bit, it was all right. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, you have Konate, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson is also starting to look old, but they're going to go out and get, it looks like they're going to go out and get Anthony Robinson. So that's going to clear that. But I honestly think Andy Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Connor Bradley. That presents a bit of a more difficult sort of plan of attack if you're the coach of the opposition team. Mm-hmm. Versus if you see Trent Alexander-Arnold, you think to yourself, if we can get them in their own half, which is really difficult to do with Liverpool, where they have to defend, we're going to go down the left immediately, because where else would you want to go? Yeah. If you have Connor Bradley, you don't have that as an option anymore. That weak link isn't that weak defensively anymore.
Yeah.
And that's my point is, in those sticky matches, you may be able to walk away with like, what, 30, 40? I don't know how much the offer was. Do we know how much the offer reportedly was from Real Madrid?
I thought it was around like 40 or 50.
If you could walk away with 50 mil,
and that's where my head is at. I'm like,
that's money you could literally hand to Salah.
To leave that money on the table is kind of bold, right? I mean,
and how about this? Salah wants $400,000 a week, right? That's about, what's that, 60 million?
Don't know, but
how much is $400,000 a week? Hold on, I'm gonna do the math here. You're watching. This is live calculator use.
All right. Well, like that's kind of the wild.
Sorry, that's 20 million. You've just paid for 2 years of Salah's contract like that,
right?
By getting rid of a player that's going to be gone in 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a calculated decision. Clearly, if they know that he can potentially leave on a free, and usually, I'm surprised it's gone this long without the, by this point in time, there's usually a story planted in the media to be like, well, Trent bought you see all the jewelry he's buying? Yeah. You know what? Something about the cars or something. I'm surprised it hasn't even gotten to that point.
Well, you heard Trent, he apologized. He said, perdóname, que esto, already speak Spanish.
Like, oh my God. How long is your streak on Duolingo?
Damn, son.
According to the Daily Mail, it's a little bit of a lowball offer, £20 million.
Well, that's because they know he's going to leave anyway.
Yeah.
So
But
you
you can negotiate that up. Maybe
Yeah.
50 is a little high then. You're probably not going to get 2.5 times.
because
that
it's like,
amount.
does Real Madrid need him right now? Maybe.
He'd be a nice replacement for what they have there, but he's not necessary. They're already in first place.
So that's why the 20 mil you offer is just like as a favor.
That's the start. Let's say conversation.
Yeah. So
you're kicking the tires.
look, to me, it just tells me Liverpool is trying to win the title, and they don't think that they can win without him there.